Welcome to Customer Service Academy Radio with author and customer experience expert Tony Johnson. Tony will share his vision for successful customer service, leadership, and business excellence, and speak to some of the most impactful leaders in business today. And now, here's Tony Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Customer Service Academy is on the air. I'm Tony Johnson, your customer experience speaker, consultant, and trainer. Today's episode coming to you courtesy of Ignite Your Service Training and Consulting and 4XI Global Consulting and Solutions. Truly, better together. So as I'm recording this, we are 2 weeks into our brand new year. I hope the year is going amazing for you so far. Hope those holidays finished up great. Hope you got some time off to breathe and to decompress, but also maybe to dream a little bit. I know a lot of you took the time. I've heard from a lot of you over the last couple of weeks about the dreams, the aspirations, the plans and strategies you put into effect. I think that is amazing thinking, and the fact that many of you who reached out and that we had some great conversations around have really thought about how you're going to activate those tactically. So really, really smart thinking there. And you know my take. I don't believe in resolutions. I believe in commitments, and commitments take action. So it's really that stick-to-itiveness, that force of will. Many of you have already canceled your gym membership 18 or 20 days into the year, but many of you are still plugging on strong. So just remember, it does take a lot of work to keep this going, but it seems like we had almost really 2 weeks of holidays this year based on how everything fell. And I think a lot of folks, myself included, took the time to really think about what 2025 was going to mean and really what those goals and aspirations were going to look like, but more importantly, how to activate and get there. Because without that, it really is pointless. So a couple of quick stories. We've had a lot going on. And so this past weekend, took our nieces for our holiday excursion. Now, we don't do gifts, we do experiences. So we went to the Westgate River Ranch and Rodeo, and what a wonderful place it was, right here in Central Florida. So if you're not familiar with it, look it up. They do a tremendous job. So went over, found one of the rail car things to stay in. It's like a hotel room, only it's a little individual rail car thing, and a couple of beds and a bathroom, kitchen, the whole bit. Very nice. And some place to hang your hat while you're there. So we went over. It's sort of a dude ranch. There's these big cars they take you around in with these big tires, these big elevated cars. They take you around in these buggy rides so you can kind of see some nature. And there are airboat rides. There's a huge rodeo every Saturday night, which was a lot of fun. It was the highlight. We shot some skeet. We did some archery. There was even a Wild West theme escape room that we went to. Had a couple of really great meals. And for my money, really well done because it seems to be a big partnership with Buffalo Trace. And I am a huge fan of that particular bourbon. So shout out to Buffalo Trace and Westgate River Ranch and Rodeo for just doing a great job. So when I think about where they really set themselves apart, it really was the hospitality. They did a great job anticipating needs. Check-in process was pretty seamless. And then I really appreciated the kind and thoughtful way they approached service. So lots of questions, and they were right there to answer them. So I'll give you an example. When we shot skeet, I had not shot skeet for a very long time, or I guess trap was what we actually shot. I guess it's a little bit easier than skeet. Hadn't done it for a long time. And so the fellow who was in charge of our group, we did it in groups of 5, did a really good job of talking about gun safety, of talking about how to shoulder the gun, how to tee it up, how to load it, and then also how to dial in on the skeet and what it was going to do. And then, really gave feedback each time on the shot. So you might have nicked it, or you might have missed it totally, or you might have, blown it to smithereens, as Bugs Bunny would have said. But more importantly, the fellow would give us some feedback on, hey, you pulled on that one, or you went up on your shoulder a little bit, or you waited too long and overthought it, that kind of thing. So really appreciated that. But it was a very safety first kind of environment. And I thought they did a really nice job of making sure that folks had a good time, got to have some success, but more importantly, kept everybody safe and engaged during the entire process. So really well done there. And then, there were some folks that did air rifle shooting and really kind and good with all the kids, talking to them about how to use it and giving them basic gun safety. And then the archery piece, really nice. Had big hay bales to shoot into with big targets, and they gave you some pointers and tips on that. So just overall, I thought it was a really, really well done weekend, and just shout out to them for that sense of hospitality and the engagement their team showed through kindness and empathy, and I really appreciated that. The second thing that I wanted to share was an experience I had at the Conrad Hilton in New York City. I just got back. I led a huge workshop there on the future of customer experience, on workplace experience, and on the future of elevated experiences for guests, customers, and consumers. So it was a really great 2 days in New York, and I stayed at the Conrad downtown in New York City. And I would tell you a couple of really neat things there. The first was their commitment to sustainability. So they don't put water bottles in the room. They actually have these reusable bottles, and they have an ambient water dispenser, a filtered water dispenser that you can fill it up with that's kind of neatly tucked behind a mirror. It was really nicely put together. My only qualm with that was I like cold water. I'm a cold water guy, right? I'm one of those, the colder the better. And when I was getting back to the room after one of the many dinners out, and if you've ever been out to like a corporate gig, right? If you've ever gone on a corporate trip or gone to a corporate meeting, you know the drill. You go to meetings all day long, and then you go to a dinner that's always way too long, and then you go back to your room and you're done. And all you want to do is drink a glass of water and go to sleep. I was in that stage, but I really wanted a cold glass. And I thought, boy, it sure would be nice if there was ice. And I looked down, and lo and behold, when they did turn down service, when they came in, and they do a really nice job at the Conrad, they come in and turn down your bed, they leave a little chocolate, they turn on some music. It's just a nice little touch they do. And they actually filled my ice bucket. So that was a really nice touch, and just exactly what I needed at 10:30 at night right before I went to bed, so that I could have a nice big glass of ice water before I went to sleep. And that was really thoughtful, really anticipatory service, and the kind of stuff, a little bitty detail that I will probably tell a million people about because I thought it was so well done. So wanted to share those two things because remember, hospitality and customer service do not have to be complicated. These small little touches are what your customers are going to remember and what will set you apart from your competition. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of this week. I want to talk about making it easy for customers, simplifying your business, being the easiest company you can possibly be to do business with. Because I will tell you, people, generally speaking, are lazy. They don't want to switch companies, but they will. They don't want to take the path of hardest resistance, but they will if they have to. They really want companies that make their lives easier, that solve their problems for them, and that take the time to understand their journey and make things just as simple as they can be. So that's something I want to talk about today because that is something I am seeing out there in the universe where it almost feels like folks are trying to make it harder to do business with them than easier. So I want to walk through 7 steps today to make your business just as easy as can be to work with. Now, this works whether you're B2B, business to business, or it works whether you're B2C, business to consumer or business to customer. So really, are you selling to businesses, other businesses, or are you selling directly to customers and the end user, if you will? So that's really the only difference there, but it works either way. These are things you have to keep in mind. But remember that customers abandon businesses for all different reasons. But one of the main reasons is either there was a service hiccup or there was a quality problem or the business was frankly just too hard to do business with. And one of the best stats for this comes from Gartner. 94% of customers who experience low effort interactions with a company are likely to repurchase. Now, that just means if you make it easy, they'll come back. So highlighting the strong correlation between ease of use and customer loyalty is not a new thing, but that stat really does stand out and say, oh my gosh, please be easy to work with or you're going to lose your customers. Because what you don't want to do is give them any excuse to want to go check out the competition. So let's talk about those seven ways that you can make your business just as easy as possible to do business with. The first is around empowering your employees with autonomy and to solve problems. So empowered employees are able to resolve issues on their own. They don't always have to check with the boss, if you will. And they know how to solve problems, prioritize customer service and satisfaction, and they can anticipate what customers need. So that's sort of the thing. Now, how can you do that? Training customers on decision-making and company policies, how to do things so that they feel really comfortable solving problems for customers and taking care of them and taking action. So prioritize that in your training. Do they know how to do their jobs? Do they have the tools to do their jobs? And if you talk to them about things that could come up and what the best ways to solve them are, really teaching them how to solve problems so they don't always have to check with you. So that is a double-edged sword. You have to set some boundaries on what decisions they can make independently and when they need to come to you. Giant refunds and things like that. You may need to have them check in, and that's okay. But just think about it this way. Stretch as far as you can with the decisions that you're going to allow your team to make. Just stretch as far as you can with that, as far as you're comfortable, and really give them the opportunity to solve problems. Celebrate those examples of employees resolving issues and really reward creativity and when they effectively do that. So giving them the tools they need, talking to them about how to do it, and then empowering them and giving them permission to solve those problems in the moment. Now, customers love swift resolutions. They love empowered employees because they can make things happen for them. And when they're capable and they know their jobs and they're good at problem solving and they kind of use a little bit of empathy to stay, up to date with their customers and what they're thinking in the moment, that's a powerful way for customers to say, yeah, that's a place I want to go back to. So probably a great place to start there is to identify common issues that maybe you as a manager or a leader constantly have to engage with, and then saying, okay, how can I help my team solve these problems so they don't always have to check in with me? Give them the ways to solve that problem, role play it, decision tree it, and give them the authorization to handle those. That's the best place to start. But ask yourself, what is it I'm always having to get in the middle of? And how can I give some of that authority away? The second piece, delivering great omnichannel experiences. Now, that sounds like a really big word. That's a mouthful, and everyone loves to throw around this word omnichannel right now. It's like AI. They're just the phrases that pay, folks. But thinking about omnichannel, think about it this way. It ensures that everything fits together seamlessly across all channels. So it could be phone, email, chat, social media, in person. Does it all kind of tick and tie together? I'll give you an example. If you're on a website, and a little thing pops up and says, hey, can we help you? For example, maybe you're on the Walt Disney World website and the little fairy godmother pops up in the dialog box and says, how can we help you make magic today, or whatever it says this week. Now, you start that conversation with a chatbot. That is an artificial intelligence AI machine that is asking you that question. It can only answer what it's been programmed to answer. Now, they are getting more intuitive. AI and all of the GPTs out there have made it easier to program these things to kind of reason through stuff. However, what you put in is what you're going to get out of this interface for the most part. So you start your interactions most times with those chatbots. Now, as it dials in and sees what you need, at some point, a real live customer service agent may pick up that conversation. Now, that's the part where it really matters. Does the person have to ask you everything that you just told the chatbot, or is it smart enough to pass that information along before Frank starts the conversation and picks up from that AI assistant? So that's really omnichannel. And then if Frank has to email you later, does he reference all of the things? And when you show up in person for your park reservation, does everything accurately reflect what was promised to you by the chatbot, by the live agent, and what you got in your email confirmation? So all of these things fitting together and never having to repeat yourself, but fitting together very neatly as you encounter a brand, work with it, and potentially purchase from that brand. So if it's easy, you will continue to use that. So if you're going to think about how you make this work, what do you do? Well, you have to make sure everything integrates together. This is a technology play. The systems and integrations have to work and they have to talk to each other. And if you have live agents, they have to be able to see what was done by the chatbot so that they can pick up the conversation. If you've ever called the cable company and every time you get passed on to someone, you have to repeat your story, that's not a good omnichannel experience. Enable those agents to see that unified view, to see the customer history, to see all the stuff that a customer has done with your brand previously. If you have these things filed, Ritz-Carlton does a really nice job with this, but if you allow your agents to see the history of that customer, they're going to be much more adept at helping them because they're going to have a fuller picture. And then just know all service is service. and now you're probably like, well, yeah, no kidding. But seriously, all service is service. Some folks believe that kind of face-to-face in-person service is where they put all their energy in steps of service and behaviors and those kinds of things. But never forget, high standards of service have to be across all touch points. You have to teach your phone agents how to give great service on the phone. Chat agents, whole different ball of wax. You have to teach them how to be great chat agents because there is a difference between balancing all the different things that are happening for each one of those agents. So you just want to make sure that they understand that they are providing service as well. Phone skills, chat skills, typing skills, in-person communication skills, all of those things matter. So it is really important because, again, inconsistency across these channels will frustrate your customers and cause something called customer churn. Now, that's, again, another fancy word for saying your customers are going to leave. They're going to go find the competition. You're going to churn them right out of your business. And a great place to start would be identify gaps. So go take your customer journey, go on your website, play with the chatbots, see if there is anything there that's kind of clunky, and then take the time to invest in these customer relationship management pieces to ensure that everything is working. And that may take an investment. You may have to think through what that looks like, but it will pay dividends in the end. The third one is a huge bugaboo for me. Simplify those processes and get rid of silly policies or rules. Complicated or outdated rules, they cause friction. And friction is anything that can make your customer mad. Just like it sounds, friction is anything that is not a smooth experience for your customers, for your guests, for your consumers, making it harder than it needs to be. And you don't want that, because that is what makes customers go away. So really, this is a great time to do something called customer journey mapping. Now, you're going to hear this a lot. A lot of people like to talk about it. A lot of people like to throw that word around. Now, I'm a bona fide CX professional, and that and $5 will get you a cup of coffee. However, there is a right and a wrong way to do customer journey mapping. I will tell you, everyone likes to talk about it because it sounds so fancy, but there's a right way and a wrong way. There's an effective way and an over-tweaked way. And this can all lead to paralysis and not getting things done and, getting really stuck and getting siloed. So if you're going to do a journey map, get a professional who does this for a living. For example, this is what I do. If you need a journey map, reach out to me. We can work together to put one together that is not only detailed, but functional. Because if you are too pie in the sky, too 45,000 feet looking at these things, you're never going to get anywhere. So really look at what steps does it take to do business with you. That is all a journey map is. What does it mean to be a customer in your business? From the time they discover you, till the time they learn about you, till the time they come to your store or book your service. All of these things are parts of the journey. So, discovering who you are, making the buying decision to work with you, maybe going to your physical store and taking the journey in there to buy a product or have a meal, or having an agent come to your home. If you have someone come in to do a home inspection or to come to your home and repair your air conditioning unit. These are all steps in the customer journey, all the way to paying, and then kind of the post follow-up to that purchasing decision, and then making the decision to buy again or not. So all of these pieces and parts, you want to be as easy as possible. So along the way, ask yourself, is this step easy or is this step hard? Is there a silly rule in there? Am I the doctor's office making someone fill out that form again, even though they filled out last time and just did it online before they came in the app? And why do we do that? Is there a reason that this information is needed and not retained? And how do we make this easier for the customer? So thinking through at every step, is it too hard? What questions might the customer have? And can I make this easier? Will really, really, really serve you well there. And then test these processes, send people through, ask for their feedback, but really take these journeys yourself, walk through from the customer perspective, always from the customer perspective, and continue to look for ways to make your service as easy as possible. Because simplicity builds trust, and it removes unnecessary red tape, for lack of a better word, that can drive customers away. And then where to start? I would look at your most common customer complaints and pinpoint what's causing them and go knock them out of their way and go fix it. That's where I would start. Number 4, providing transparent and proactive communication is so crucial to creating great experiences. Transparency really does mean keeping customers informed, being upfront and honest and open, and making sure that folks know what's going on, where they are in the process, and if there's a problem, fixing it before they have to ask about it and let them know where they are. So think about that. Proactive communication, people again love to say that it's a huge buzz phrase. It really means anticipating. It really means not making a customer ask for it. It means being there before they know they need it. So thinking about getting back to people on time, this seems like such a simple concept. Someone calls your office, someone sends an email. Getting back on time is so important. But often what happens, particularly in large companies, people are trying to build consensus, people are trying to make decisions, people are trying to get the right answer. And rather than saying, hey, I need an extra couple of minutes, I need an extra day to get this back to you, they just let it hang. And they become difficult to work with, is how they're seeing. These people never get back to me. This place can't return a phone call. They can't return an email. And that's basic blocking and tackling that a lot of folks get wrong. Can you automate the communication process? Finding ways to keep people informed on delivery schedules or product arrivals, or even if a service team is being dispatched to someone's home, when are they going to be there? SafeLight does that. If you've ever had your window replaced by SafeLight, once you book it, you get a live tracker app when they're on their way, and you can kind of see where they are and their picture and that kind of stuff. So you know the person coming to your house is who they say they are when they come to fix your windshield. And then using proactive alerts to inform customers on delays or changes. I ordered a necklace for my wife over the holidays, and they did a really nice job of keeping me involved with where everything was in the shipping process when it was being shipped my way. Amazon does a great job with this. So companies that do a really great job with this really do encourage customer trust. Harry and David is another good one. If you order stuff for the holidays for folks, you kind of get notes along the way when it's been shipped, when it's en route, when it's out for delivery, and when it's shown up on somebody's doorstep. So you know where they are along the way, and that's really important to customers. And when you communicate these timelines, these costs, these policies up front, and you train your team to be honest and really upfront with folks and not over-promising. So an example of this, the other day I was at a restaurant and I sent a food item back because it wasn't cooked right. My steak wasn't cooked right. And the fellow said to me, I'll have it back to you in 2 minutes. Well, he was never going to have it back in 2 minutes. And that's okay. But we're all kind of famous for just give me 2 seconds, just give me 2 minutes, just give me a day. Whatever that something is, whatever that commitment is you're making, hit that commitment. I'm not saying under promise and over deliver because that's a double-edged sword, but think about being as dead bang on with communication as you can. If you say you're going to have that report to somebody in 24 hours, then do it. If that basket of pears is going to be on somebody's doorstep by Friday, hit that. Because people are really counting on that. So it does matter, again, because it builds trust, it reduces frustration, it strengthens customer loyalty, and customers always feel like they know what's going on, and they know you are trying to solve their problems for them, even if they don't quite know what their problem is yet. You're proactively trying to give them the next thing. So an example of that would be my air conditioning company. When they were here doing my recommended annual service on my air conditioner, they were actually looking at stuff and they noticed that there was some buildup and they recommended a UV light and a fan to go in there. And they hardwired it right in. And they said that would keep the buildup and keep stuff out of my air circulation that I didn't want to breathe. And that sounded pretty good to me. But I didn't know I needed that. But they were good enough to look at a problem and proactively suggest a solution. So just continue to think about that. Some people might call that suggestive selling or anticipatory selling, but always thinking about what the customer is going to need next. Now, where you can start with this is review your customer interactions to identify where communication might be lacking, or if you've heard feedback from your customers about, hey, this is where we often get confused about where we are in the buying process, and go knock those down first. Number 5. Keeping wait times low. People are so busy, and whether they're busy or not, they think they're busy, and time is the currency that matters to folks. So long wait times, whether on the phone or in line or in a store, they are a huge frustration for customers. It's why we love Chick-fil-A and how fast they get us through the drive-thru. So what can you do here? Use the AI and the chatbots to handle those simple requests, reducing their wait time. And remember, people are open to self-service more than they ever have been before. And this is what I always say. I always say, have self-service and technology there when people want it, and have human support there when folks need it. And that will set you apart. Make sure that your scheduling is there. Make sure that your team is well trained. Make sure that you have people where they need to be when they need to be there. If you've ever done scheduling and you have a peak period in your business when you know you're going to be busy, for example, restaurants, they will staff up and staff down throughout the day based on the level of business. That's really important. So if you have a product-based business that you know you have peaks and valleys throughout the day, do you have your product ready to go when people need it? And do you have people there to serve customers when you're very busy? Now, this seems like a really simple concept, but so often this kind of predictive scheduling isn't used. So do you have enough people when you're going to be busy? Do you have enough product when you're going to be busy if you run that kind of business? So, think concession stands at a football game. They are staffed up and have tons of food at halftime, and they don't need so much in the third and fourth quarter. So just think about that and really plan your business that way. Optimize your staffing to meet your demand. And then a really simple thing that I think has become a big deal for folks, if you have a hold system, if you have people calling into your business and sometimes they have to wait on hold for an agent to become available, offer that callback piece. I love that, where it says, hey, you can stay on hold if you want and listen to this terrible music, or someone will call you back in 15 minutes when they're available. You won't lose your place in line, and so on and so forth. And we probably all heard that at different businesses. I really appreciate that. And then when they call back somewhere within that time range, I can take the call and I didn't have to sit there and listen to that awful music for 45 minutes or however long I would have been on hold. So that's a really powerful way, and folks are very open to that. So it matters because long waits, they're a negative experience. Nobody likes to wait. We are in the TikTok generation of folks who want it now. They want it quick. They want it fast. Nobody wants to wait for anything ever. Unreasonable, yes, but can we manage around that? Yes, indeed, we can do that too. So where to start? Look at your peak periods, look at your wait times, and really analyzing your staffing and availability of product to peak demand periods. And that could be a time of day or a time of year. So just know if your business is cyclical in any way, understanding what that means and how you can deliver on it. Folks, I really hope you're enjoying the show today. And if you are, make sure to scroll on down, leave 5 stars, say something nice. Help us keep Customer Service Academy the top customer experience podcast in the world. We so appreciate you. So the next one is soliciting and, more importantly, acting on feedback. So gathering feedback is crucial, and it's harder than ever, but this could be feedback you get from surveys, from email responses. It could be verbatims when people send you a note or call you with feedback. It could be a customer that you meet in your business and they give you some feedback right there in the moment. So there's no wrong way to hear a customer. What does often go wrong is folks don't act on that. So regularly ask for feedback. It could be reviews, could be follow-ups, could be surveys. Any way you can get a customer to share feedback is crucial. And maybe people only fill out a 1-question survey for you. That's okay. It's one more question than you got to ask anyway. So people love short surveys that don't take a lot of time, and they know that their feedback is going to be acted on. So then look at the patterns. What did they say? What did you learn? And overall, what are the trends that are developing, and what do you need to do about it? So it's basically stack ranking. What is the most important thing that came through? What came through most often that seemed to be bumming your customers out? And what can you fix right now and take actual action, and then let your customers know that you acted on their feedback? That is one of the things customers do love to hear, is that you not only got their feedback, but you listened to it and you took action because of it. Customers love to hear that. Because really, when you think about why it matters, people love to be listened to. It strengthens relationships and drives meaningful conversations and improvements that's going to be good for your end customer. So where to start? Develop a survey if you don't have one. If you don't have a feedback mechanism, make sure that you develop one. It could be very short, could be very simple, but make sure that you have a process by which people can leave you feedback. Can they leave you a review on your website or a Google review? Can they send you feedback through your website? Can you send them a post-service survey via email they fill out, or give them a call to have a conversation with them? Give them options, but understand you need to have a survey in place, and then prioritize what you hear most and take action on what you learn. And then finally, leverage that customer understanding. Invest in proactive, anticipatory customer service. We've talked about this a little bit already, but really it means understanding what customers want and addressing it before they have to ask. So this is taking all that feedback, all the feedback we just talked about getting, analyzing it to understand your customers, the journey mapping we talked about earlier, and taking the time to remove friction from their daily lives, but doing it before they have to ask. And using AI and data analytics to predict it. We've got AI as a powerful tool right now to take survey data that before was just a mountain of numbers and verbatim comments. This will now do a much better job of helping you understand what the sentiment is. What are they really saying inside of that feedback, both from numerical scales or quantitative results, and those kind of fill in the blank ones or qualitative results where they give you verbatim comments. It can smush those all together basically and give you an actionable plan based on what you learn. Then employee training really starts to come in this part too. We talked earlier about empowering the team, but also making sure that they're well trained, not just trained in their jobs, but trained in hospitality. This is a lot of where I spend my time, training frontline employees to deliver great customer service. It could be customer service agents, it could be cashiers, it could be servers, it could be people working in retail stores. This is a big part of what I do, and I will tell you, the results we see when we invest in high quality frontline employee hospitality skills training, it is amazing the return on investment we see there. And then finally, think about how can you personalize or tailor your offering, your communication, your service to your customers every day. So thinking about proactive solutions, thinking about personalizing and hyper-personalizing their experiences, and really tailoring what you do, not just for the general public, and not even just for segments, but for individual customers and what they need in the moment. Because when you can anticipate that, when you can anticipate what customers need, that drives loyalty and satisfaction. It shows they're valued and that you really do care. So where to start on this? Start by making sure that you're collecting and analyzing your customer feedback. You may even have to go out and collect some additional demographic data in your market. You may or may not have to pay for that, but make sure that you're taking the time to identify the trends and opportunities in your particular market and with your customer base. So where to start on this? Collect and analyze that customer feedback. Look at your marketplace data as well, because this is all exists in layers. What is your market saying? What's your region saying? And then what's your particular customer base saying? All of those have validity. You may have to purchase some of that. You may be able to get some of it for free. You may also be able to plug this into an AI system that will help you analyze it and really find trends that will help you personalize and anticipate the service that your customers want. Now be careful what you plug in if you're using a freebie, because you don't want personal data getting into the ether, right? There's some real potential quagmires there with people's personal data getting into the AI system. So make sure that you're aggregating that data, and if it's an open system, you're not sharing people's personal stuff out there, because again, you don't want to be caught up in one of those big data breach things because you shared information in the wrong place. So be very, very careful about that. But use the tools. Use the AI tools, use the data tools that are out there to understand your customers so you can create those personalized moments for them. So folks, that is our show. We are still in the middle of the Great Service Comeback here in 2025. Some things never change, but there is a lot happening in the world right now. We've got huge change happening, and the one thing that will continue to keep you successful is focusing on your customer experience and your employee engagement. And if we can help with that, make sure to reach out. You can actually head on over to Amazon.com and check out my book, Together We Serve. You can get that on paperback, digital, and audiobook. Check out Together We Serve by Tony Johnson on Amazon today. Order copies for yourself and your team. But until next time, I've been Tony Johnson, your customer experience speaker, consultant, and trainer, reminding you to keep your customers at the center of everything you do, because that's where the most amazing things are possible. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will talk to you next week.
This has been Customer Service Academy Radio with Tony Johnson. Tony is available to speak at your event, meeting, or workshop. Have a powerful customer-focused day.